Placement to airport retail. So a very exciting topic. I know a lot of you all probably want to get into the airport, so you're in the right place today. And I have a panel of beautiful, wonderful ladies that have all the experience on airport retail in various facets. So first, I want to introduce to you all Jay Lita Covert is the founder and CEO of Just J Wear, a wellness and activewear brand empowering women of all shapes, shades, and stages to sweat pretty. Jaylita has expanded her purpose-driven brand into retail locations, including Atlanta Airport, the wellness spas, and other community spaces. So let's give it up for Jaylita. Next, let's welcome Taylor Tankson, co-founder of Tribe and Oak, a luxury home fragrance brand crafted for people with respiratory sensitivities who deserve to enjoy beautiful scents without the headaches, irritation, or compromise. Let's clap her up. And last but not least, we have Adila Brody, is the founder of Brody's Love, a wine importer, wholesaler, and distributor, and the world's first Black female owner of a Chilean wine brand. Let's clap it up for her. All right, so let's start at the beginning of this. When did airport retail first become a real opportunity for you? And what made you say
It became a real opportunity for me when about 2 years ago, I became a brand in the Village Retail, which hosts over 30 plus brands in Atlanta and Ponce City Market. And then they shared with us that they're opening up a second store actually in Hartsfield Airport, and I was selected to be in the airport with them. So I was afforded a unique opportunity based on the sales that I had for the past year and a half to be in Hartsfield Airport Concourse B, and it's been absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, I love that. All right, let's go to you next, Taylor.
For us, getting into airport retail is really a strategy. It is something that we took out. We got ACBB certified, which you need to get concession certification from the airport. And we have gone to open houses to see some of the primes, so that would be the Paradisos, the Hudson News, different people. We've done all of that. But then we got the opportunity to be part of the collective at JFK Terminal 8. So we are one of the 14 brands in that store. So that's how we're in the airport now.
Yay, all right. Adila?
So we started out as cupcakes and cognac, and when COVID hit, we had to close. So while I was rehabilitating, because I was partially paralyzed, I lost my memory, I was sitting at home and I said, God, what's next? Because many times when you pour into your business and it shuts down and God tells you to pivot, He will give you an assignment before He gives you the way to go. So when He told me to go into the airports, I said, check this here. You're gonna have to show me how to get to the airports. You're gonna have to direct me. You're gonna have to tell me. You're gonna have to open up the doors, because I did not know. I didn't come from wine. I didn't come from a family of wine. So when God started telling me, okay, this is who you need to talk to, the doors just started opening. And we're wholesale. I never knew anything about wholesale. So I just followed His path, and that's how we started opening up doors to come into the airport. That was the beginning of it.
Yes, that's a mighty testimony. I love it, love it, love it. All right,
I
so
think the biggest reality is that you need to really understand what you're getting into. For us, we had an opportunity to expand into another kind of partnership that we couldn't do because we had the airport. And in preparation for that, that means that we had to get our money up, right? We had to pay to do it. It meant that we had to get all of this inventory to be ready on time to prepare for it. We had to get badges for the airport. We had to get staff. We had to figure out what the government requires for all of that. So I think that that is really the big thing. You have to understand that your products being on the shelf is really the last piece, because it's a whole lot of other steps to get properly prepared for that. So I would say money time is really understanding kind of that Port Authority requirements. That's what you need to look out for, because that's going to make the difference if you can do it or not.
very true. Let's move on to you, Jaylita.
FIFA line, so Sweat Pretty is the brand, so it's Sweat Pretty Atlanta. Oftentimes when you go to the airport, they want to have paraphernalia to have the city on there. So I created Sweat Pretty Atlanta t-shirts, the sweatshirts, and the socks. The socks have been a key item because most of the time people come to the airport they need socks. So they said men, women, everyone is buying the socks. So that's been a top seller. But understanding who your audience is, that's extremely key. And then, like she said too, making sure you have the inventory in hand. You don't know what you don't know. So I did not know that. I've been in the airport 2 months, and twice a month they're asking for purchase orders. So I have a good problem, but just trying to keep up with this problem.
A lot of times in retail, people start from the product, but in wholesale, you have to know about the compliance. You have to know about what licenses you need, what permits you need, and if you really want to do it, because it's a totally different lane. So I first asked myself, like, okay, what am I doing? Because there aren't a lot of us. It's only 1% of Black owners in the wine industry, but it's less than 1% that are Black female Chilean wine owners, because I am the first and only one. So what did I have to do? And a lot of people don't tell you that. A lot of people don't give you the information. And truth be told, there are a lot of gatekeepers here. So you have to sit down and you have to do your own research. You have to see what the compliance is, how do you get there, what licenses you need, what strategy you need. And because we couldn't do it ourselves, I needed to find someone who had the strength in knowing how to get into the airport. So that was the reality for us.
Can you talk briefly a little bit more about the certification that you mentioned, because that's very important.
Ciao. So the ACDBE certification, there's a couple different ways to get into the airport. That is the way. When you're certified that way, you can talk to the Hudson News and all of those people, and that usually is kind of like a listserv for them to see people who have already been vetted. So it's really just kind of a thing for that. But we know that the government has been a little crazy and things have changed. So we were certified, and 2 months later we had to recertify because it's to be a disadvantaged business, and we couldn't use our race or ethnicity or my gender to dignify that disadvantaged status. So we all had to recertify to keep that disadvantaged status without those markers. So that was a big thing, but it's really, really important for where I am in the airport now. I didn't need it, however, it's still valuable because I am seeking other doors within the airports and other airports, and that certification absolutely gets me every time I do it.
Thank you for that, Taylor Nardilla.
To ask myself a question, I had to say, if a buyer came up to me today and introduced themselves, would I be ready? So a year and a half ago, there was a huge VP that came to speak at the Urban League, and he was seeking Black women-owned businesses to be a part of their airports. And when he was talking about it, and he said, "This is what you need, the requirements." We had all the paperwork, we had all of the certifications, but then he said, "You need to be ready." And I had to sit and be honest with myself. I didn't want to go up there and be half ready, because I did not want to crash and burn, because I had a team with me. Our brand, it speaks for itself. So I wasn't ready. I had to sit and say, I'm not ready. So when I looked at it, I was like, what are the holes? It was the compliance, it was the infrastructure. We had all of our ACDBEs, we had all of our DBE certifications, we had Hudson, we had everything. But there was still a little crack, and the crack was the real foundation, the infrastructure, the compliance. If they asked for 100 cases, will we be able to sustain it? So we had to change our websites. We had to make it so that it could be strong enough to hold what they asked us for. Because you only get one shot, especially being a Black female. They're waiting for us to fail.
Oh yeah, all the time. All right, so
I think it's a lot, like we both covered, that just being ready. Like I mentioned briefly, I had an opportunity to partner with another kind of wholesale partnership. They have their own online store. Because the airport thing came at the same time, that's not something I could do. Just because I know that when I don't have the capacity, I didn't have the money to get all the inventory, all of those things. I have to be honest with myself and make sure that I have the capital to do it and that I have all of my ducks in a row. So you just have to be honest. You know, as you mentioned, you have to be honest with yourself of where you're at, the capacity for what you do, because it's like you said, I don't want to go in there and fail. I don't want to come looking crazy, unprofessional, disorganized. I want to take on what I can absolutely take on and be prepared, do that right, get that set before I can move on to the next opportunity.
Yeah, so let's move into operations. Behavior that has changed how you sell your products.
So what I learned is we have to know what our lane is. You have to know who your customer is before you can put out a product, even if it's wholesale. I went through an extensive workshop training, and I had to say that I don't know this. I don't know the marketing aspect of it. I don't know the customer mindset. So you have to be willing to learn. You have to be willing to be a student at times. Just because you are a CEO doesn't mean that you know everything. And I couldn't be the end all be all. I couldn't do when they say you're a jack of all trades. I don't want to be a jack of all trades. I need to work with integrity first. I need to get a team that knows what they're doing, that knows more than me. So looking at all that, I had to say, who is my customer market? Who's my customer mindset? Because everything that's good is not always of God. I'm not going after everyone. Our customer mindset, even if they're in the airports, they are high end. They go to the sky lounges. They go to the affiliate lounges. They're not sitting in the basic terminal. So we have to know that. So how do we reach them? How do we touch them? Who do we want to go to? There are a lot of airlines, but all the airlines are not for us. So I'm going to stay true to who God told me to be, who God called me to be, the product that He gave me, and I'm going to work that out. So that's all.
I love that because that kind of segues into this next thing where, you're dealing with travelers. You have to know how to convert these travelers to customers. They're there trying to get from gate to gate if they have a connecting flight. They have children that are worrying them. They're hungry. They're this or that. So what makes someone stop, engage, and actually purchase in such a fast-paced environment?
I think for me, and after talking to my business coach, Mark Patterson from Russell Innovation Center for Entrepreneurs, we did some research. Most people are, they want socks, they want their feet covered. So he said, after my first purchase order came in, and then within 3 weeks later, the next purchase order, is the problem I need to solve is making sure all the customers that come through feet are warm. So I had to make sure I tripled that inventory so I was able to fulfill it and fulfill it quickly. So understanding the need and fulfilling the need quickly, that's how you drive revenue, and that's how you drive your brand presence and just increase people in globally to sweat pretty in their city.
That's good. Patrice, can I answer that?
Yes, go ahead.
So why people stop? For us, it was about the story. What is my story? Because there are a lot of wine companies. I had to be honest. There's a lot of wine. But what separates us from the others? Why are they going to take a sip of our Pinot Noir? Why are they going to take a sip of our Sauvignon Blanc? And the reality is I am the story. How God created this was His. So when we go to our vendors, we tell them, we give them a 14-day period, and we give them the story. Here's what we need you to convey to the people. When they come and stop by and they say, I would like a Sauvignon Blanc, you say, well, we have a Burley Love. And here's why we think that you need to sip it. Not because it's great, because it is. Not because it's delicious, because it is. Not because it is the best, because it is. But because our bottle is of joy. We are joy. So we spread that.
I love that. All right, so for founders thinking about this path, how do they know if their brand is...
I was actually suggested to just send part of the items in the purchase order. It's in the second part, and then there was a confusion. So with the purchase order, so I strongly learned from that experience, provide everything in that purchase order or don't provide it at all. And also just checking on my other stores. I'm in the spa as well, and I'm also in the Village Retail. So looking at inventory and making sure that everything is different. And as she explained, wholesale is different than retail. I was accustomed to retail. So when I selected my items to be in the airport, I had to purposefully say, what are my profit margins? Pick a perfect profit margin, make sure I have the perfect fabric, because I wanted to make sure wherever anybody sweat pretty in the city, they loved it, they enjoyed the fabric, and it held up just like anything else. So profit margins are extremely key when making that product selection in the airport.
Thank you. Taylor, high traffic does not always mean high sales. How do you convert travelers who are rushing distracted or just passing through? And I know that you're closer to, you're like in a terminal. So what does that look like for you?
Yeah, so for us, again, we're in JFK Terminal 8, Concourse B, line Gate 6. But no, it means it's different for us actually. Our entry into the airport is a little different because we're a collective of brands. There's 14, 15 brands there, and we actually work one day of the week. So we got to work the weekends and actually be able to engage with those travelers, which I think is a little bit different than most people's experience. So we get to see what are the people looking for in action, right? Like how are they doing it? How do we shift our displays to make it more engaging for people who are working by? So that was something that I think it was a privilege because we were able to actually be there and see those customers, see those travelers, that we got to shift our display. We got to see, okay, well maybe they don't like this scent. Maybe our travelers like bright scents because that's something that's capturing them, it hits their emotion and they go and buy it. So for us, that's what it was, and we had the unique ability to be able to shift that by actually being in terminal with those customers.
All right, so I'm gonna just open this up to say that I've learned more in 3 months than I did in 3 years of being in business. So let's talk about that.
So what surprised me and shocked me the most is retail and wholesale are totally two different lanes. When we started out with two varieties, and we had retail. But what I found is we were e-commerce. We weren't in the airports yet. So it's a lot of insurance, and it was a lot of the shipping was great on my customers. And knowing me being a customer, I wouldn't want to pay double for shipping. So I had to sit down and have the reality of like, okay, what do I need to do? So when I went into wholesale, everybody wants to be at Whole Foods. Everybody wants to be in the airport. Everybody wants to be seen. But what does it take to be in there? So what shocked me is like, not a lot of people were telling me how to get there. Not a lot of people were telling me the answers to wholesale. They were sitting down piecemealing. So I had to say, okay, what do I need to do? How do I need to do it? And if I need to stop, which I did, I stopped. We closed down shop, and I had to have the real reality of, okay, what is it going to take? I would rather stop and put everything together for 6 months to 8 months than to continue to push a product out there and it still fail because we're scaling too fast. So that's what surprised me. It was just totally two different lanes, and I had to learn the lane that I'm in.
All right, so Jaylita,
How do you know? Again, you have to know your customer. You have to know where to find your customer, where they're looking at the lounges. You know where they are. The terminal matters, where the store matters. For us, we're in an international terminal with American Airlines. So we get high. I mean, they're going everywhere: Hong Kong, Australia, all kinds of things. So I know what type of people are coming through there. That's what it is. You really have to know your customer at the front. But I also wanted to add, there's a couple of sorority members in here. Proper preparation prevents piss poor performance. I don't know if you know that. You have to be ready. And I feel like some of us are talking around the preparation. I know this doesn't answer the question, but you gotta have money. We were able to do it because we had $10,000 set from grants that we won, and we were able to have the money to provide that inventory. So I just wanted to put that out there, be real about what preparation means. Preparation means money, and it means organization. So definitely put that out there and make sure that's part of your strategy to be able to pull something off like that.
all right, and what about for you, Jaylita?
She went through a mental health crisis, was in a mental health facility after her best friend tragically passed, had to relaunch her business, start completely over, and then was accepted in the Russell Innovation Center for Entrepreneurs, and then accepted in the Village Retail, then accepted in the airport, and then accepted in Goldman Sachs. All of this happened in less than 2 years. So I am a prime example of what's possible. I'm a prime example of what it looks like when you're depressed, you're falling in quicksand, and how you can actually get out. But you have to have a tribe, you have to have a team, you have to have a support system to lift you up when you're in quicksand. So I'm here today because of all of them, and not just me. And my mom, of course, she's right here.
All right, I love that. So if you had to give one piece of advice to the next founder trying to go from product to placement, what would it be, Adila?
The one advice I would give is stop chasing buyers. Let the buyers chase you. You know what your product is. You know what God has given you. You know the vision that He has given you. You cannot be everything to everyone. So you have to stay in your lane. You have to know your strong suit. You have to walk in it. You can't be intimidated. You have to know when to stop, when to pivot, when to say I need help. You have to know how to open up your mouth. Because if they don't open up the door for you, then you break down that door. If they don't give you a table, then you create a table. You make sure that you have the access so that you can pay it forward. I am here because God gave me this opportunity, so I'm here to pay it forward. I'm here to give people the tools and the how, not just saying that, oh yes, we're in the airports, we're successful, but it's the how. How do we come together? How do we come together as sisters? How do we come together as one to say, this is what I have, this is my strong suit, I know that you know more than me, so Taylor, help me, I need help, and you have to be willing to accept that help. So the advice I would give, stop chasing everything. Let people chase you, and you walk in what God has created you to walk in.
Thank you for that. So we're getting ready to wrap this up. I want to allow just a couple of minutes for questions. Before we do that, I do have an announcement. I have been working on something over the last 3 months. I'm actually officially announcing my book release here called Final Boarding Call. Thank you. So I wanted to do it here because this book is going to help people who want to get into the airport. It's not just about airport retail, but this is something that you can transfer over to your business and e-commerce if you have a product-based business, even a service-based business. I'm an author, so I was like, why not put my skills to use? 3 months in the airport, like I said earlier, gave me more experience within that time frame than being in business for 3 years. So be sure to scan this QR code. It's announced here first before I announce it to the public. Sign up and you'll get all the information on when it actually launches in the fall of this year. And you'll get some free perks if you do a pre-order as well. Thank you all. We'll open it up for questions right now.
Hi, I have a question for Ms. Taylor. By the way, I love all of your stories, all the information provided. Thank you so much. But you mentioned the certification. So what does that certification stand for, and what is that the first step to take when you're starting the process of trying to be airport retail ready?
It's not the first step, it's a step. So it's the ACDBE certification. It's Airport and Concessions Disadvantaged Business Enterprise. Right? Yeah, so that is the certification. That's what it stands for. Again, with the recertification thing, you cannot use your race or your gender as a disadvantage factor to certify for that, but that is a factor. You could also sign up. Jay was able to sign something because who she was working with likely already has that certification, and they were put in a store in the airport, so she got to be a vendor at that store without having a certification. So I think the certification is still useful because it's kind of something you have in your pocket. If another opportunity comes, you're prepared for it because you already have that, whether you're walking in under another store or you have your own individual opportunity like Patrice had with Melon Bread.
Thank you.
Oh, one more. Certain steps before you get the ACDBE, but with the training, you can go online, you can go to your the SBA, and afterwards I can give you the links so you'll know. But you can go to the SBA, they have free training. Go to LSPDC, they have free training. After you start the process and you start making revenue, then they have Goldman Sachs, which we were also graduates of. The Goldman Sachs 10,000 small businesses. They have the United States Black Chamber of Commerce. There's a lot of free information out there, and when we're finished, I'll give it to you. Oh, you're welcome. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you all so much. This has been really, really great. I was out there.
So what I would say is that if you're going to be there long term, then yes, because of course that comes with more money. You're spending on your jars, bottles, labels, all the things. We had 2 ounces, so that worked well, but we also had people that would purchase the 4 ounce. And if they could not get it through because they had a carry on, I would ship it to them for free. So they would purchase with me in right there, and then I would ship it within the next couple of days. So there's ways to get around that as well.
Can I answer from the wholesale point of view? So from the wholesale, it's different. Say you're targeting an airline for the Sky Lounges, and we have wine. So we can have 750 milliliters, which is this bottle. We don't have to have little splits. The splits are to go through the TSA. You just have to bring yourself through the TSA and go to the sky lounges. But when you're a wholesaler, you have more parameters, but it's focused on who you're going after.
All right, so we're going to have to wrap it up now. Thank you all for the questions. I do want the ladies to be able to drop their Instagram to you all so you can follow them before you leave. So we'll start with you, Adele.
It is Brody's Love, BRODIES LOVE at Instagram, and it's Adila Brody, ADILAHBRODIE.
All right, I'm Taylor Tankston, and you can find us at Tribe and Oak on all platforms. You can also find us in the New Voices Hub, our founder hour, following this at 11:30. If you have any extra questions, I'll be over there. Come say hey and see some of our stuff.
All right, you all know me, Patrice Chappelle. Be sure to scan that code, and we're at melonbrandskin.com and then melonbrand skin on Instagram.
And I'm Jalita Culver. You can find me at IAMJUST as in Tom, JAI. And then also for Just J Wear Sweat Pretty Brand is JUST as in Tom, JAIWEAR. I have some cards after this to share.
All right, thank you all for attending. Awesome. So what I would say is that if you're going to be there long term, then yes, because of course that comes with more money you're spending on your jars, bottles, labels, all the things. We had 2 ounces, so that worked well.